I mean, you kept saying to me though that I keep, adhering to or whatever, giving it credence, like saying,
Yeah.
if I say that these things, they're like, well, you're
So
giving into their
let
arguments.
me
Couldn't
give
you
you
be doing the same thing though, in the same sense?
no, I think I think people need the background to this that a lot of people weren't getting. And so we need to rewind a couple
Okay.
of months. Because I've talked about it on your show before. Like I was
Yeah.
working on the anti-CRT bill in New Hampshire. I was traveling around. I was doing a lot of offline work. Like people think that like all they see on Twitter is like all people are doing. No, like you do stuff in the real world too. And so I was going to all these meetings talking to people about critical race theory, making sure they understood critical race theory and all this stuff. And I was like, it was just like weeks and weeks and weeks of this. Now, an interesting thing happened. I want to say it was in May of this year, where I started hearing this language pop up that's like critical race theory is anti-white, and I was hearing this in person. Now I normally I normally see trends online before I see them in person, but this was weird because I was going to these in-person meetings hearing critical race theory is anti-white, and like when I say it came on suddenly, it came on like that. I
Hmm.
don't know what happened or what memo went out exactly. I have an idea, which I'm going to explain, but like all of a sudden, this was all people wanted to talk about. And it was also when people were advancing this argument or asking these questions, they were also getting very, very angry and very, very agitated, much more than I had seen before. And again, it happened it seemed like it was like overnight to me, where it wasn't happening one day and then it was. And again, I've been studying this for a really long time and I had not seen that language used in that extent. Now, I pay very close attention to language just as like I think it's just a form of habit because when I was working in organizations more as an organizational psychologist, like I had to pay attention to language to be able to help them. So just naturally, when I'm in these conversations, I'm like, oh, people are saying that more. That's interesting. What's going on there? So I started
I
noticing
don't think it was such a quick snap.
it really was though. Like, and
But
again, like I
Karlyn,
was out there a
imagine if
lot.
you will, you're just going about your day, you're hearing about this critical race theory things, right? And you're looking at different things. You're hearing Coke is saying be less white. You're seeing that
Yeah. Well,
ridiculous.
I got to tell you,
Almost everything I see, you're being taught that you're the bad guy. Most
well,
average white people,
no,
because they're the ones who are getting angry and saying it's anti-white. Well, can I just speak? You're just saying no. You don't even
you
know
can
where
go,
I'm getting going with.
but okay, you can go.
No, it's
And then I'm going to
you.
explain. You can speak, go.
It's funny. It's so these people are hearing it over and over again that all white people are racist,
Yeah.
white supremacy, this and this. And to
Mhm.
my point earlier, it's like they're being treated like the boogeymans. They're being treated like they're doing something wrong when they're not, right? And
Yeah.
like you said, it's like, okay, well, you're basically giving their argument. If you believe their argument, like the things that they're saying are true, that's why people are getting upset. But it's they're teaching these things as if they're true, and saying if you don't agree with it, then you are definitely the problem.
Right,
So
but I'm
they're
talking
being
about
vilified.
yeah, but I'm going to stand by my assessment, which is this language was not being used in the discussion, and then almost overnight it started to be used and started showing up not just on Twitter, not
Hmm.
just online, in the real world. And so that was significant for me when I started noticing this and I started noticing a pattern of that. So where was I? Sorry, I've had 3 hours of sleep. So I
You
was
were
doing
it's
all these
May.
I had noticed that this was starting to pop up and I was paying attention to it. And
Okay.
so then at some point, um, so I had I was starting to get really frustrated by this language because when I would go to speak to people in person, I would try to explain, well, yeah, there are these components, but there are also all these anti-black components. Ultimately, critical race theory is not even about race, it's about power. That's a whole kind of other tangent. Like I'm in this stuff all the time and I think about it so much that oftentimes I understand that I'm way ahead in my knowledge of it than a lot of the people that I'm talking to. That's a function of spending 12 to 16 hours a day, almost every day for the past 2 years, trying to understand this. So I was trying to explain to these people, like, might have these components, but it's not just that. And I got to tell you, too, I do think that the Coke Be Less White story had a lot to do with this. And I have had, I mean, to be really human for a minute, I have had a lot of guilt about that and a lot of guilt that I was the person that put that out there. And I'm going to explain why in a second, because what I discovered when I was, kind of trying to figure out where this anti-white language was coming from is I accidentally kicked the hornet's nest of actual white identitarians. I'm not talking fake white supremacists. I am talking some of the darkest, coldest, meanest people that you've ever met in your life. And
Okay.
that started happening when I started kind of like just I was not aware of what I was doing when I was putting like some of the stuff like saying, I don't believe that critical race theory is anti-white for reason X, Y, B, and Z. I actually kicked this hornet's nest and I had a big group of them, of thousands of them, come at me and started attacking me. Now there were a lot. I've gotten heat from a lot of people. There are several different groups I've gotten heat from. I've gotten heat from the actual white identitarians. And again, I'm not saying I'm not using this as like an SJW. I'm not just throwing this term out there. What I mean by
Are
white
you?
identity, yes, I'm absolutely, and I can provide proof of this. These are people who want a white ethno state. These are
Okay.
people who
Yeah, they
came onto,
exist.
a lot of them exist. A
Okay.
lot of them.
Well,
I
where's
have
that proof? How do you know what's a lot? What are you
I
talking
have
about?
clips on my channel and I was attacked by at least 4,000 of them. That was
4,000. How do you know it's 4,000? What
because
does that mean?
I was keeping track.
Of each individual person that was attacking?
I was trying, and we can add in that they probably had some multiple accounts and doing all this stuff, fine, whatever. But there are
Karlyn, you have to recognize though that this anti okay, I
can I
won't
can
say
I can I can I
anti-white.
can I well, can I finish where I'm going with this?
Sure.
Because there is actually a point to this.
Okay,
There
I'd
is
like to
not
hear
just
it.
like I get so what happened when I kicked this hornet's nest and this big horde of them came after me? And again, there are clips on my channel. People can go back and
Sure.
watch this. Is that I started to kind of go down the rabbit hole and investigate, and I have found like more than a little bit of evidence that this is language that is specifically being pushed from this community, and it's they've been doing it for a really long time, and that's because
Do you
they
think they
like
work at Coca-Cola?
that's a different thing.
Okay.
These two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once.
I'm gonna
And the
remember you
fact
said
that
that.
and the fact of the matter
I'm
is
gonna
that,
remember you said that exact thing because that is my entire point.
well, and if you're saying critical race theory is racist, that includes white people. That
Okay.
includes white people
I
unless you
agree
are
with that.
buying into the definition
Sure,
that the
there's
SJWs
white people that
used.
are racist. I mean, if they're
So,
saying all people are racist,
what
continue though.
happened
Go on, finish it.
is I came across enough evidence and I worked with journalists on this to ascertain that this is language that that these people, these really bad evil people, have been trying to insert into this entire discussion. I've actually got them on video admitting it, Adam. I
Okay.
have them on video admitting it. The language came from us. We've been pushing it. And
Who's
so
us?
when
Oh, from them. You're
actual
quoting them.
white, yeah,
Okay. Sure.
the actual people
Mhm.
that want the white ethno state. And so like when people are using this language, what they don't understand is that it is coming from a really dark place of people who
100% of
frankly,
it though. 100%.
well,
All of
no, can
this
I
entire bubble of anti-white is from
I'm
them.
going to finish this story, please, because I'm going to tell you exactly how it inserted and got into the mainstream.
Okay,
So it
fine.
came from them. They've been trying to get people to pick it up, and then guess what happened?
Some of it came from them.
Then guess what happened?
Go on.
Alt-right conservative, I'm not okay, those are two different groups. Alt-right influencers and conservative influencers started using the anti-white language. It
Okay.
came
When was
from
this?
that.
When?
This was in May or June.
This
But
year.
this year.
No. This
Yes.
started in
No.
2012.
The
This started in 2012,
well,
2013 when the Smith-Mundt Act was enacted with the NDAA
what I'm
and they were
talking
allowed
about
to
is using it.
propaganda American citizens.
Fine, Adam, but what I am talking about, you and I are talking about two different things.
No, no,
What
no,
I
I'm not.
Yes, we are.
I'm talking about racism spiking in conversations on the internet.
I'm not
There's
talking about that.
all of this stuff started then, and it got
I'm
worse
not
and worse
talking
and
about that.
snowballed into where we're at now.
Yes, but I'm
It
not
didn't
talking
start
about
this
that,
year.
Adam. I'm not suggesting that talk about racism started this year. I am suggesting that the
Okay.
amount of people who were using this anti-white language substantially increased, and not just online, but in
Okay.
person. And that was where it was those were the people who were trying to push this language. And they succeeded. They were successful. They got exactly what they wanted. And the fact of the matter is that I think, to cut to the chase, I think it is grossly irresponsible of people to use this language. Number one, because they're pushing the agenda of really, 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 really bad people, people
So
that
is
you do
Robin
not want to be aligned
DiAngelo
with.
a white supremacist?
Of course she is,
A
but not
neo
this,
whatever this
people,
group?
but not the same as these people. These are
But
two
is
different
it?
things.
Are
This is
you
like
saying that
diversity theory.
100% of it is coming from them, or they just nudged it? They pushed the
They
ball. Give me your
nudged it.
percentage. What are you saying?
I have no idea what percent, Adam, but I can tell you
I mean,
that
you seem
they
awfully
have
confident
very.
that they're the
I
reason.
am
They're like the
100% confident.
the
Yes,
cabal of the white
I am
anti-white.
100% confident. I have mountains of evidence. I have
Okay.
tried to get journalists to write about it, and all of them are too effing scared because
Hmm.
these are dangerous people. These are dangerous, bad people.
Okay.
They're not people you want to be aligned with. But then it got pushed into the mainstream by flipping conservative influencers, and then everyone started using it. And there
I
are
have an
several
article
reasons.
from
Hang
2017.
on. I really need to finish this point without being
Please do.
interrupted. Because the point that I'm making, to go back to where I started at the beginning, my
Hmm.
goal is actually to defeat critical race theory. My goal is
Sure.
to actually put an end to this problem. It is not to perpetuate it in perpetuity. It is not to make money being a pundit. Every single time people use this language, not only are they using language that came from a really bad place of people who actually have an agenda that aligns with critical race theory, they are also undercutting the good work of people who are actually out there fighting this to win. They're undercutting James Lindsay. They're undercutting Chris Rufo. They're undercutting me. I basically stopped for I've stopped for months because of this stuff because I
Okay.
can't do it. I can it put me way, 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 way too in danger. I cannot do it in the way that I was before. But it wasn't just me. It was undermining Jody Shaw. It was undermining Aaron Kinesfatter. It was undermining every single whistleblower who has put themselves out there because this is exactly what the left wants you to do. It is, and this is why I get frustrated about this because, like, I I have sacrificed so much to fight this fight and to try to defeat this thing. There are so many people out there that have sacrificed so much. There are people that come forward every single day
Okay.
sacrificing to be able to be in this fight. And
I know, but
every
where
single time
where
you guys
what
screw
is the
around
point
with
of this though?
every single time our goal is to win. I don't
Right.
know what the goal of the people is who are saying anti-white,
I know,
anti-white,
but you
anti-white,
said that you were bringing it up
because
for.
I did. Every
Hmm.
single time people use this language, they are handing the left a win. They are making it harder for us to actually win. And I know that this is true because this when they started going after me, they also started going after James Lindsay and they also started going after Chris Rufo. And they started going after Chris Rufo because
Who's
he is
they?
not
Who are you talking about now?
the okay, so there's several different groups. There were two that were primarily doing it. They were the actual white identitarians and they were the groypers. Now the
Hmm.
groypers act like white identitarians, but they're not. They're kids that are trolling and screwing around. But they were going after Chris Rufo because he's not married to a white lady. They were flat
Okay.
going after him because of
Hmm.
that. So they weren't just coming after me. They were coming after a lot of people. My bigger thing again is that every single time this language comes up, it
Hmm.
hurts the fight against critical race theory. It doesn't help it. It hands the left exactly what they want because they want to be able to say, look at all these people. All they care about is the anti-white aspects of it. That's all they care about. See, we told you that they were racist. Every single time it makes my job harder, makes Chris Rufo's job harder, makes James Lindsay's job harder. And it's like, I don't think people understand how much goes into fighting this and how it's infuriating to me that people can't be responsible with this. They are
Okay.
losing nothing by saying critical race theory is racist. In fact, you come out looking like the good guys. You come out looking like the ones that actually care about stopping racism. I did not get into this just to fight racism against white people. I don't think any form of racism is good, whether it be against white, black, brown, whatever.
I mean,
I'm
I
not
agree with
going to
that.
fight this fight
Hey,
about just
Karlyn, Karlyn,
making the
take a
white
breath.
people feel
Take a breath,
good.
please. Take a breath.
Jeez.
Take a breath. Look, I know I've already know all this, right? I know that you've been attacked. But you saying that
It's
now
not about
suddenly.
the attacks. It's
Hold
about
on, hold
winning
on.
the
No, no,
fight.
no. You spoke.
Like,
It's my turn now. You need to let
but
me
don't
speak a little
mischaracterize
bit,
what I
please.
said.
Oh my goodness. You said that you started getting attacked and all this stuff suddenly came this year. I mean,
And then I did a long diatribe about how it's about winning the broader fight.
I get that part of it though, and I'm equally against critical race theory because it's racist towards everyone, but there is an underlying thing that isn't new. It's not new. I mean, I have an article right here from
The language
2017.
in the scale that it was being used and
I'm
how it
sorry.
was being used
I
was
have to show you
new.
this article. I mean, it's
Fine. Just because you
how
can
is
find an article that says anti-white, Adam, it doesn't mean anything to
it's
me,
not
to be honest.
anti-white.
That
Court
doesn't say
declares
it.
F white people is neither racist nor a hate speech. I mean, this was normalized. This was a normal thing. Basically, when Trump became president, because they needed to make add to the you
Okay.
know
That
white
doesn't
people are
dispute
bad
anything I've
narrative.
said. That doesn't dispute anything I've said.
Neither does it dispute anything that I've said though, and that's where we're
You're
I
right.
get
I
it.
am you're
It
you're
is
absolutely right.
racist.
People can use the anti-white language if you want. I happen to
Mhm.
think it is grossly irresponsible to do so, and
Think
because I was attacked by
right.
white
It's
supremacy,
your
by
opinion.
actual, yes, it is an opinion, and I'm allowed to
Thank
hold an
you.
opinion.
Right.
I am
That.
allowed to hold the
Thank you.
opinion that if adults actually care about winning,
Mhm.
then they should behave like responsible adults and not hand the enemy win after win after win after win.
No, I'm not giving them a win. Me talking about this stuff, me saying, "Hey, it's anti-white because of this, and this." So that part of it is wrong. And also, it's
Okay.
anti-black. It's demeaning towards these minorities because of this, and this. I
Why
talk
do
about that stuff just as equally as I talk about this stuff.
why do you lose anything by saying it's just racist?
It is racist.
Yeah, so why can't you just say it's racist? Look, this article about F white people, that's racist.
It's making
Why can't
white
we
people
why
pissed off because it's making them the bad, it's their fault.
well,
It's
why aren't those same
they're
white
the reason
people why
to
aren't those
they're the hold on. They're the people that are being blamed for all of this.
so
It's
what?
my fault because I'm white because of all this stuff. So
So
people are being
what?
pissed off.
Young black children are being raised to believe that they can't do anything in the world because
And
they're
that it's
black.
my fault. So when they see me, I'm the reason that if they are to
I'm
succumb to this.
sorry. I am not going to prioritize any hurt feelings that you have as being labeled the all-powerful white man over the fact that 8-year-old black kids are being taught that they can't be successful in the world in a
It's
time
teaching
when they
them
have.
to hate. It's not about
I'm
me.
sorry, like, Adam,
It's
I'm sorry,
teaching
I'm
them
sorry.
to hate.
Your feelings do not take priority for me over teaching children that
I'm
they
not I'm
cannot be
not
successful in the world.
treating anyone any
These 2
different.
things
It's
are
not my
equally
feelings about
bad.
it.
They are equally bad.
I
All
agree,
racism
but
is
they're
bad.
also true.
Racism against white people is not more important than racism against black people. It is not. And when you are saying
Okay,
it's
you got a good point.
anti-right instead of racist, which racist encompasses everyone. If you've ever said all lives matter, you say critical race theory is racist. Otherwise, you're
Yep.
being a hypocrite. Like,
Okay.
like it's racist. It encompasses everyone. That includes white people. That includes black people. That includes brown people. And
You're
it
right.
also takes back the language so that we can frame ourselves as the people against racism.